picking up wood ticks. Gonna be covered in them. Picking up wood ticks. That's the row where it was dumping seed out because the previous renter on the cedar had unhooked the inner dump out door in the seed tank and I didn't catch it, and you can't see it from the cab, but it'll grow. So, try to remember which way around this was. So seated east to west for the most part, and then coming back over it diagonally, as you can see. Looking not bad. A little bit of thistle, which is odd considering the only thing that's been growing out here has been grass and some dandelions for a few decades. You rip it up, and boom, them blinking weeds come back again. So yeah, call that a win. That's good germination. Now we've got the moisture. I'll come back out here with a quad in a few days and check it over for any foreign bodies, just in case this ends up being a bumper crop and it goes down. That way the swather can cut it without risk of getting badly damaged. Actually, that's a canola seed. Yes, and we will be showing the swather. Maybe in this video. If you see it next, then you'll know I knew what I was talking about. Giggity, look at that. Cool!
You good, eh, Jerry? Both bulls hanging back.
There we have it. 15 yearlings with the trainee bull yearling and the Hereford, who doesn't have a great track record, and then the 2-year-olds who not even half of them have Cabot bud with their bull Vaticus. So the reason why we have it like this, because Jerry and Vaticus spend all winter together, so they know each other quite well. They don't rag on each other too bad. Oh yeah, before I go any further, further to our conversation about the silage pit that used to be in the yard there, where the ground blew out. This hill that I'm standing on, we made this. This entire mound of earth here is all of the topsoil from this yard. We cleaned out the whole yard down about a foot, and that's what's piled here. Now, originally, this pile here stopped there, and then there was a gap here, and then there was another pile there, and we put a silage pit here. I think I was telling us in one of the last videos where we tried to pile the silage out here away from the yard, And it did the exact same thing. Shocker. Yeah, when it's wet, it's very soft and it doesn't take long to punch through. Now, there's a vein of gravel over there, and then that's just pure sand up there. So that's why the silage pit's over there. So yeah, that's all the herds with bull are on grass now. The only herd that's not on grass is the cull cows in there with the 3-year-olds that are still at the calf. There's only 3 of them left in that pen. So yeah, they're in there. And that's where they will stay. They will not go on to grass for the moment. So, yeah. And that's how this fence works. 4-strand of barb, which I love my barb. And then the hot wire along the top. And yes, it does need tightened up. I'm just noticing that. But that is to stop the bulls reaching over the fence at each other. And it's got a kick, because the power source is right in there at that workshop, and the ground rod too. So yeah, this fence, it's got stank to it. So yeah, here's the babies, doing well. Our little Hereford, she come round, she was not doing so well at the start. She developed scours the next day after she was born. And our 3-colored cab is doing exceptionally as well, as you can see right there. But yeah, there's a bunch of them here. There's a couple of calves in here that are Lamar's, because Lamar was with these girls at the start of breeding season last year, and then we pulled him because we were scared he wasn't working. Well, not last year. Yeah, last year, because the year before, with the other group, there was only 50% calving rate. And then last year, with a different bull, we got less than 50%. So 2 different bulls with almost the same outcome. The only thing I can think of, hey snuppers, is because these guys, when they're yearlings, like in here, they don't have sun shelter in their corral. So we're going to see if we can remedy that. Try and get something up this year. But we are planning on building that here. And the background to that is, I'll try and quickly without wasting too much more time. The plan is that the structure will go from that gateway all the way through, encompassing these 2 gateways. The reason for that is that we will then be able to process all of our calves when they're weaned inside this shelter that will go right the way through. And there will be a part here where the crush will sit, and we will be able to process the calves, splitting them and working them all under cover out of the weather. So that's the plan for next year. This year we'll get everything ready, so next winter those structures over there will get done like I did last winter, but those ones over there. So then next year we will start groundwork for these. Always gotta keep planning, putting pieces of the puzzles. And that's the irony. He's up there postulating to his buddy, and he's got the hottest chicks in town over there. But Puddin' Pop, the little yearling bull, he's over there. That's him. Yeah, he'll get all the poontang and poontanny. And then the heifers just feed whoever comes. That's not hers. That's not hers. Oh my gosh. Anyway, on and up. And yes, Piper Doug can turn his hand to gardening. Now this is Piper Doug kind of gardening. So this was a piece of waste ground behind the house. Nothing would grow back here. If I can find some pictures, I'll stick some in here. So yeah, weeds would grow here, grass would not grow here, not much really would happen. So, and as a lot of people know, I have a thing for boulders, probably because I grew up on the rocks on the southwest coast of Scotland. Yike or come. And that is a milk can from my dad's old farm in Kilmarnock, in Scotric. So yeah, what else to do with a piece of ground that won't grow much? Don't grow much. Make it into a feature. So yeah, these are rocks that I have salvaged from parts of our fields or from other people's fields, because they have rocks sitting around and most people want rid of them, so I bring them here. This is the home for wayward boulders. So yeah, dig a little hole, find the best way to set the rock up and go from there. And then just made a meandering path. We call it the Zen garden. See, there you go. So, and we have some driftwood from BC, which came from our friend Ian Ross, who was the MC at our wedding. So yeah, mugo pine, and then we have these ferns that my father-in-law brought from somewhere, and man are they prolific. So yeah, we've just kind of planted different things and see whatever grows here, and then we'll go with that. But it's funny because even going back many years, because this is ironic, because today was the big Fraser auction pre-hay sale. I was bidding on a few things, but it seems like everybody's got money to burn because everything was going mental. But while I was cleaning up here, I noticed something. And this goes back to even when we were farming 3,500 acres of grain. I've always been a skinflint. Yeah, I bought these pavers at a Fraser auction. These are all, what do you call them? Cast-offs? See, they've got these wrinkles and cracks in them. So yeah, just goes to show you, I've been thrifty with my money even back when we were rolling big acres. Because the trees down the driveway came from a Fraser's auction. The mugo pine came from a Fraser auction. We bought these ones though. So yeah. Oh yeah, there's a biscuit from a logging camp in BC. Came from our friend. So yeah, lots of little tidbits here and there. Yeah, we're in the middle of going to be building a covered in sunroom on here because being part of a pale family, we're not big on the sun and definitely not big on bugs, and we have bugs, so yeah, I'm just going to carry on cleaning. I just thought that was quite ironic that we've had these for, at least 15 years, and that wax pan is still on there. Yeah, see, look at that creature. Probably got my blood in it. There you go, dead. Anyway, back to work. What are we doing, Piper Doug? Well, Piper Doug is under Mrs. Piper Doug's care. We'd already done the back brake pads. Front ones, last time I checked, were actually quite good. And then Mrs. Piper Doug, she could hear some scraping noises, so I figured it was the indicator on the pads. So I had the pads ready for this, so brought her in, put the new pads in. I never bleed. Well, I'm having a hard time with words. Words are bad, okay, I have bad words. I never bleed brakes. I just use the C-clamp to push the piston back in. Most of you probably already do that anyway. The one thing that we had noticed in passing, when this car was in getting its new engine, which was under warranty, that's a whole other story. I remembered that this wheel liner went missing around about that time, and we always just figured that that they'd taken it out when they were working on the engine, which is right there, and never put it back in. But it occurred to me that the wheel liner is still partly there. It's like, well, what's that all about? Well, I think I found out. Don't mind that. All of the locking things, little nuts washer guys, are all missing. This thing has been hanging down on the wheel, as you can see by the worn away part. So it looks like that's what happened with this other one. It wore away those little nut grommet washer guys like that because they're plastic. Yeah, let's put plastic in a wheel well. And then the liner, the top part must have fallen down, got caught in the tire and got ripped off. That one was the only one that's left. So yeah, when you live on gravel, those little buggers don't last long. So what am I doing? Well, I found some fine thread 10mm bolts, nuts, 10mm socket nuts to fit those studs. I got to order a new liner for this side. Yeah, I can't magically make that reappear. But the reason why I keep old sickle blades around, I don't have much use for them right now, but I have a whole bunch of old ones that I kept for this very reason. For that. Ooh, arrowheads. No. I cut around the hole and it makes big washers for jobs, whether you're doing pop rivets or some such like. Well, these will work great for these, because look at the size of the dang opening. Silly. I don't get it. Engineers do better. So yeah, gonna get those blade parts, stick them on there, and then I have a bunch of these. These are all the bits that I kept off of my e-waste business. So yeah, comes in handy. Yeah, so this one here, she was doing a wee bit of grinding. Done. And what happens when a farmer sees really bad design? Sorted, mate. She's sorted. Yeah, I'll order a couple of new liners and I won't bother ordering the plastic things, and I'll just make more of these. Good enough. Good new. Lunchtime at the zoo. And yeah, this is another thing going back to why we're not big on grain feeding. Like, our calves are not hurting. Plus, that kind of shows you between the corn silage, the calves liked it, but they weren't like major fans of it. But this alfalfa silage, calves really like it. And I think the fact that it's not like high quality, we're not as much risk of the calves like overloading on it and maybe getting a bit bloaty. It's still quite fibrous, but for the most part, they're doing well on it. They're really, any of the ones that did get scours are bordering on coxy. They've got right over it. Hey Felicia, what you doing, girl? There's our Leia. She's enjoying being part of the big crew. This is her first season with the big herd. My gosh, she's standing with her mother. You think they know? I think they know. They know. Yep. Okay, there's one of the twins out here. Their mom is wandering around somewhere. There's one of the other twins. This is the twin that doesn't have... Actually, this twin, Felicia's its mother. And if you remember, Felicia loved it but wouldn't feed it. So she's out here. She's basically talked another cow into keeping her on as a backup. Big IN. This size difference. That's not a small cow. She's massive. Anyway, the point for this segment in this week's episode of As the Piper Goes Mad, a lot of people wondering why we're still feeding the cows. because there is enough growth on the pastures now to get the animals out. And that's the other one of the newborns right there, doing well. Good, good, good. Mama flops his big boy. Squirrel! Why are we still feeding the cows? First and foremost, we're feeding them because we can. Why do they want to go to the puddle? Other squirrel! So a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, some people disagree with me on this one. I like to keep the animals here by the yard, and yes, our camera can see everything going on out here for the most part. That's right. And that way, when we have newborns going out, for the most part, they're not let out until they are matched to their mum and everything is said. But I like to keep an eye on them for the first week or two, because as you know, we have been getting sicknesses. That's our twins' other sister. Here's Bodie. Bodie McBodiester. Big beast of a thing. There's nothing wrong with that calf. My gosh, 3 squirrels in one video. You guys are doing well. But yeah, like I said, I like to keep an eye on them. That way I can come out here and medicate them. And when I'm feeding them every day, I'm gauging them every day. That's the wee girl that got bloat. We isolated her for 2 days, solved it, put her back with her mum. Right as rain. And the other thing to do with... Here's Jade. Pretty girl. This is one of Jed's daughters. She is a pet, but they've all gone bush on us. My gosh, you got four squirrels in one video. I feel sorry for you guys. I have to watch these, but I'm just gonna make my way over here. Leave the tractor alone, vandals. I probably should have just yeah. And that's one of the. What are you guys doing? That's a big. Gotta. Never mind. That stuff has a lot to do with where we're at as far as health. But if you look out here into our rotational paddocks, you would look out there and go, come on now, that's far enough ahead, right? Nope. And in our family, we've had this discussion before, and I know there's a certain somebody watching this video that'll be like, that, that's me. When it's heading out, you're starting to lose some of the feed value, and that is true. No calves over here! Anyway, but what this does is, when we pop the gate and they start rolling through these paddocks, they are eating it, but there's enough alfalfa and there's enough varieties of grass in here that the stuff that's earlier and it's setting seed right now, it protects the ground. This goes into this whole like rotational grazing thing where you're protecting the ground from A, compaction, B, drying out, and you're protecting the plants from getting abused basically by the cows. Hey there, Ikers. Because when they're chewing off like this, the plants are dealing more with trauma than growing. So once we start moving them through here, we never eat it down. We eat it to about 50% and then we move them on. So they'll work their way out into the ravine, and there's going to be some fencing going on over there, so that's another project to be discussed. And then they'll make their way out down through the section. Meanwhile, this comes back, and then they will come back up and work their way back through the paddocks. And all going well, there will be 3 runs through these paddocks, and that way that we will be running 100 cows on, you know, give or take about 200 acres. So hopefully that answers some questions on why we are not grazing out the cows yet. Jane, stop it. This is Tongue's mum. She's another Jed. But yeah, they're looking at that going, yummy. I know, Ike, Jane, no. You know you have to wait. And sadly, this is one of the problems with so many calves still to go. This fall, I'm hoping there will be a plow coming to the Shire. And this field here, it's time for it to come up. That's why you'll see net wrap in here. It's going to be a bit of a bonfire this fall. So this field is going to get plowed. So look forward to that video. Because as you can see, the gopher trouble in this field is absolutely diabolical. We're just, touch wood, no injuries. Because you see like some pretty dang bad holes in the ground. Isn't that right, Ginny? So, look forward to that. This video is probably getting long enough, so I know it's only Sunday today. It might look like it's a roaster, but it's actually beautiful. It's about 24 degrees, which is lovely. What are you doing in here? Another one of the little ones. Yep, thingy one. Yeah, he's been medicated, so. I am going to sign off and thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you all got something out of that video for the oiler brushes. I'm hoping something is going to be happening with that in the near future. And yeah. I say see you next week. Not right, I am. Yeah. And you thought I forgot. By the way, by next episode, you're probably going to see a bunch of this stuff on the ground. We've kind of had to move up our cutting date because that last big storm that came through pushed a bunch of stuff down. Probably won't start in this field. We'll be starting in the big field because it's actually higher and more in flower. It's actually hard to see until you look this way. You can tell the flowers are on, like what percentage it is at. So yeah, look forward to that. Teddy bag. Woo-hee-hee! Woo-hee-hee!